Hello everyone and welcome to Sports Japan. I'm your host Ayako Kisa. So this week I'm at a training room for Tenshin Ryu Hyoho. Tenshin Ryu Hyoho has been around for about 400 years. So let's take a closer look.
Tenshin Ryu Hyoho is a school of traditional Japanese martial arts which comprises various types of classical forms. Today we are going to focus on its style of battojutsu, or the art of drawing the sword. In the blink of an eye, the sword is drawn and an attack is launched. In this example, the time between drawing the sword and the blocked attack is just 0.6 seconds. It's this astonishing speed that defines battojutsu as an art form. Kuami Masakumo, the 10th Grandmaster of the Tenshin Ryu Hyoho School, is going to demonstrate some of battojutsu's refined skills.
So what kind of swordsmanship is battojutsu?
Basically speaking, the sword is always carried in its sheath and cannot be wielded against an opponent instantly. But if you're about to be attacked and you're taking time to draw your sword, you'll be in trouble. So you have to have the skill to draw for your own attack or a block extremely quickly.
The aim of battojutsu is to draw the sword so fast that even if your opponent is first to launch an attack, you can still be the first to strike. So, how do battojutsu practitioners draw their swords so quickly? One reason is the technique used for moving the sheath.
We call this motion sayabiki. You pull the sheath back with the left hand, lower your chest and hips, plant your feet apart, and extend your right arm.
The secret to drawing the sheath back quickly is to imagine cutting across your abdomen with the little finger of your left hand. Harnessing the backward pull of the sheath to help propel the right hand out in the opposite direction is the key to drawing the sword out in a virtually straight line.
So why was battojutsu required in the ancient days?
Warriors had to be ready to fight at any time. If you were suddenly attacked, you couldn't say, "Hang on, I'm not ready." It was considered shameful to be cut down without even drawing your sword. Someone put to shame like that would have to commit seppuku, or ritual suicide.
For a samurai warrior, there was nothing more dishonorable than losing a duel without drawing his sword. It was essential to master various battojutsu techniques, so you would always be ready to fight. Battojutsu is one of the martial arts included in Tenshin Ryu Hyoho, which emerged around 400 years ago. The renowned swordsman Tokizawa Yahei was the school's founder. Yahei learned the art of swordsmanship from Yagyu Munenori, a military commander and sword-fighting instructor for the shogun's clan. Yahei was given the responsibility of guarding prominent people and engaging in espionage missions and assassinations. He was eventually tasked with systematically organizing the more than 200 sword-fighting techniques developed by his master Munenori. By combining some of Munenori's techniques with his own skills and other martial arts, he was allowed to develop a new school, which he named Tenshin Ryu Hyoho. Masakumo sensei continues the school's traditions, together with 70 students. Training in Tenshin Ryu Hyoho emphasizes combat simulation. All practice sessions require a sword. Although they are replicas, they can still cause injury if not handled properly.
You're attacking the wrong place. You're not aiming correctly. Doing it that way won't help. Wrong again.
Each drawing technique is designed to enable immediate attack at any time. When grabbed like this by the collar, for example, it seems too close to strike. But the sword is drawn and thrust from a low angle. The opponent can't see the strike coming, as it's hidden by their sleeve. This is a different situation. This time, an upward vertical cut is made. Here, the opponents imagine they are in a narrow alleyway with walls on both sides. A technique is used for drawing the sword while adopting a sideways stance. Tenshin Ryu Hyoho also includes many ways of drawing from a kneeling position. Altogether, there are 108 different sword drawing techniques. One common approach links them all.
Most of our techniques wouldn't kill someone immediately. We aim for precise targets to make shallow cuts. For example, areas like the fingers and wrists. On a finger, a 3-centimeter cut is enough to remove it. We make shallow strikes at exact points.
It's often believed that getting in close and cutting deeply to kill your opponent with a single blow is fundamental to Japanese sword fighting. This, however, is a risky strategy.
If you attack when you're too close, your opponent could cut you deeply too, and you might both end up losing your lives. Of course, you must be prepared to trade blows, but you don't want to throw your life away cheaply.
There are also various techniques in Tenshin Ryu Hyoho for reacting when you are caught by surprise.
This exercise assumes someone has stepped out of the shadows behind you. People might wonder whether you would really notice if someone suddenly tried to attack you from behind. But we practice so that we can sense when someone is there. We also train to listen out for any suspect movements, so you can move away from the attacker's approach. This gives you the space to retaliate.
This technique is called the Mikage Gaeshi. The opponent draws their sword first. Masakumo sensei senses the presence behind him and reacts to the sound of the sword leaving the sheath.
Tenshin Ryu Hyoho has multiple fail-safes built into the various techniques. If you're about to be attacked, a single movement can produce both defense and counterattack. Mastering such advanced sword fighting skills could save your life. If he attacks me, for example, this one movement can act as a defense and attack. Defense and attack can be combined in one seamless action.
In Tenshin Ryu Hyoho, There are even methods of attacking an opponent who is chasing you. The key is to maintain an awareness of what's happening behind you as you are running, in order to find the perfect time to strike. Ayako is fascinated by the power of Tenshin Ryu Hyoho, having witnessed it at such close quarters. The way the sword is returned to its sheath so quickly also intrigues her.
Okay, so the way you sheath the sword really looked cool, so can you show me slowly?
If you just want to return the sword to its sheath, it's quite simple. Let me show you a standard technique. You begin with holding the sword downwards. Then you slide your feet backwards and perform the chiburui, which means flicking the blood from the blade. You can't remove all of the blood that way, however, so you also need to wipe it with paper or even your thumb as you return it to the sheath.
Scary.
The chiburui is always performed before sheathing the sword. Leaving blood on the blade can blunt it and reduce its life. As with drawing, there are various ways of sheathing a sword in Tenshin Ryu Hyoho, and each one has a particular significance.
Sometimes you twirl the sword like this before sheathing it. You might wonder why we would need to spin the blade around, but it helps improve dexterity. It's a form of training for working on your te-no-uchi.
Te-no-uchi refers to the skill of gripping the sword and turning the wrist. Learning various ways of sheathing is an excellent method for improving control over the blade. These skills can be applied for drawing the sword too.
If you draw your sword in the usual way, the sharp edge faces your opponent, so we sometimes twist the sword around.
How did you do that?
The sword is flipped so that the mine, or blunt edge of the blade, is facing the opponent.
If you grip the hilt sequentially, using the ring finger, little finger, middle finger, and index finger, the sword rotates like this. You do this instantly as you draw the sword.
But what reason would a warrior have for attacking using the sword's blunt edge? It lies in Tenshin Ryu Hyoho's founding philosophy.
The skills, methods, and philosophy of Tenshin Ryu Hyoho, particularly the sword drawing skills, are all deeply infused with Yagyu Munenori's concept of Katsujin-ken. Katsujin-ken is fundamental to our beliefs.
Japan's Warring States period was a long era of conflict, which began over 500 years ago. To survive in battle, warriors developed numerous weapon skills and martial arts, which were polished through actual combat. Peace finally came in the 17th century.